Well, I mean, it's going to take a little time. You know, they're going to have to spend a little extra time either during or after, practice and get some extra throws possibly just to kind of get a feel. I think as a quarterback, you'd want to do that. And same way with Golden. Matthew Stafford throws it probably a little differently than Carson does. So getting used to Carson is something he's going to have to do. But we got to do it fast, like now. So it's going to take some time.
We have to do it fast like now, and also it's going to take some time. So there you go, contradiction a little bit. But, Coach, assuming that they do get on the same page, and it is a successful page, how much does Golden Tate change the outlook for this Eagles team?
Well, I really like this trade. Of all the trades, I thought this trade fit the best because one of the things the Eagles did so well last year was third down. And one of the problems they've had this year is closing out games, and that comes back to their ability to convert on third down. Golden Tate's been one of the league leaders in third down conversions for multiple years. Here's a guy that's had 90 catches for the last 4 years in a row. He's got the right type of attitude, work ethic, toughness. He's got intangibles that I've always appreciated in coaching against him and watching him play. And to be able to insert that into a locker room right now, it's hard to find. It's hard to be able to do that and get someone that can add significant value in an area that you've had drop-off in. So I thought it was a great move by the Eagles.
We were talking yesterday off the air about a coach, and I won't mention the coach, but a specific coach you wanted to bring into your staff because you thought he added an edge, and you thought it was good for the team to have that edge. I feel like Golden Tate as a player adds a bit of an edge. If you know his story, if you know teammates like him, but he's even by NFL standards, he's a tough guy.
Yes, sir.
And he's a no-nonsense guy. And I'm not saying the Eagles don't have those guys already, but for a team that hasn't seemed to find the identity that they had last year, and I know it's a new year, and I know you have to start over, is that one of, in addition to he's great yards after the catch, he's great on third down, in addition to the X's and O's things he brings, is that another reason this could be a successful move for them?
Yeah, to bring in those intangibles is really important. Now the difficult thing, and Chris can talk about this, when you bring a player to a new team, often they're not the way they were at the old team because they're trying to get used to the locker room. They're trying to fit in. They want to be part of the culture. They don't want to necessarily impose their will on it.
It's like your first date. You know you're not going to get who that person really is. It's who they want you to appear that they are.
Is it different if the player was brought in because he was cut or waived by another team as opposed to your team trading for him, like giving up an asset to bring him in?
Well, it's any social group that you go into. Oftentimes you're feeling it out. You want to be part of the group, and you want to contribute in a positive way. You want to see how business is being done. Not everybody can just insert themselves and be an alpha immediately. And then look, it happens with big money free agents all the time, where you pay for a set of intangibles, but you don't really get those until year 2 because they're trying to see where they belong, where they fit.
This is one of the things, when you're making a transition as a wide receiver, and people start making statements like this. The Cowboys, they traded #1 for Amari Cooper. The ownership, everyone, coach, everyone starts to say he's going to make an immediate impact. So he's also, as a wide receiver, he's got a relationship with the quarterback. So the owner, the coach, the quarterback have all signed off on, hey, we need to make this guy look good. In Golden Tate's situation, they trade for him. They need a guy who has that skill set better than Zach Ertz and Alshon as far as running with the ball. So now you've empowered him because of the things that they say. So his learning curve is not as steep. So defensive guys will gravitate to him. Other guys will go to him. You won't have him. If he's in the cafeteria, you will not allow him to sit by himself. You will go over to make sure that he feels a part. Now, if they don't have a press conference for you, if they don't, it's not that important. I got 5 minutes to eat my lunch. His time is not important to me. I'm just going to go ahead and finish. So when you have this higher level pressure from ownership and management, it really helps that transition. I believe Golden Tate makes a quick transition. He's one of my favorite wide receivers. And to answer your question, Nick, When you watch a veteran player, how he goes about doing business, and for a wide receiver, does he block? Is he a diva? Those type of things, you gain sweat equity in that room. So yes, who Golden Tate is, how he plays as a player, it does help compared to other wide receivers who we've seen traded for and everything. So yes, I do believe that transfers over to great things for Philadelphia in that locker room, Coach.
And what you don't want to happen is what you saw in the Dallas game. And to me, that was a classic example of there's so much pressure to make Amari Cooper work that Dak Prescott goes back and throws an interception into double coverage because he thought that he needed to make that work.
To justify the move almost.
And
you try to justify the play call, too, because in practice, you run that play 4 times. And you know what the coaches do? Not only did they design that play for Amari, they designed a stupid defense that was going to have Amari be open. So then they forced the quarterback. You know the reason why? Because when they play fake to Zeke, all those dummies on the scout team just rushed up there. And in the game, none of that stuff happened. So Dak froze because the pitcher they gave him was not the one in the game. So he wasn't smart enough to throw it away, realizing the coaches, that was not a good play there.
Yeah, and Golden's a part of the puzzle. And they won the Super Bowl last year. And there's a lot of guys that contributed so much to that success. So now it's his job to come in and fit in and be a part and contribute to this season. And look, they're in position now to make a run in that division, and I think Golden helps that in most significantly on 3rd down and helping them close out some of these games.
The question we always ask is how long does it take before a receiver who comes in gets up and running, even for a guy like a veteran like Golden Tate? Take me inside what that looks like with Carson Wentz. Does Carson adjust to Tate's route running? Does Tate, you know, respond or adjust to how Carson plays, what he didn't get from Matthew Stafford? Are they just throwing balls to each other? What does that look like?
Well, this is the thing. You're not trying to make him a complete receiver. You're not trying to teach him 3 or 4 wide receiver positions. Right now, there's a need as far as in the backfield or in the slot to be able to get the ball out and get yards after the catch. So, to me, he's like a guy like Anquan Bolden. He's like Steve Smith. All these guys, you can bring them up to speed because you can throw the ball sideways and he can still be effective. So I believe immediately after the bye week, he will play a significant role because they need him on 3rd down. So I believe that Doug Peterson gets him and watch Darren Sproles. If you're talking about a team getting better, Carson Wentz adding those 2 guys coming down the stretch, I believe is a huge addition to that Philadelphia passing attack.
I'm glad you mentioned Bolden and Steve Smith because he was described to me as a guy who most similar to those players and someone who's a tough player but not disruptive in your locker room. Brings an edge to your locker room but not a disruptive force in your locker room. And so that's what I think Philly got in addition to what Coach was saying, which is if their offense is more reliant on yards after catch than any other offense in football outside of maybe New England, and they were lacking it this year, he's as good as any wide receiver in football at that specific thing to go along with the 3rd.
Yeah, I believe the Philly fans are going to love him. I believe they're going to gravitate to him because he's got a showmanship with him as far as his toughness and everything.
And do we see him Sunday, or how much do we see him
you
Sunday?
got to see him Sunday. At their record.
They didn't buy him not to play him.
No. And he wants to play.
All right. Stay with us, Coach. Coming up, could Des Bryant disrupt the Saints team chemistry? That's next on First Things First.
See, I think one of your sources is starting to become one of my sources.
Oh, yeah, they need to stop. They need to stop. They're trying to make sure, we got it covered. Yeah, man.
With all the top designer brands under one roof, our expert stylists have you covered from head to toe.
At Men's Warehouse, select designer suits are $329, plus it's buy one, get